This is Candace Owens' show, The First Casualty of War, is the truth. This is him pushing Netanyahu's stool in. That's Miriam Adelson. And then this is him with Erica Kirk, who he just put on the board of the Air Force Visitors Committee or whatever, where they make decisions about stuff. Charlie had been on that, and now Erica has taken his place. But the opening is...
All right, you guys, happy Monday. Just going to pause our Bride of Charlie series just for one day because there's just so much going on right now.
Yeah, it can't be all Erica Kirk all the time when Trump has started a war to distract from the Epstein files and, by and large, the, according to you, FBI failures into looking into it. I mean, this is another great way to hide the fact that, I guess, according to you, his own people in the FBI and the Army were involved in assassinating Charlie Kirk to help his wife get control of $1 billion NGO. It's just wonderful. It's a great series. It's hilarious.
Oh, Iran is literally on fire. Bill Ackman wants me imprisoned, apparently, for suggesting that American sons and daughters should object to being slaughtered for Israel. Why so triggered?
Well, I mean, I don't know how you would even go about jailing someone for saying something like that. I think he just... they're throwing treason around like a bunch of dipshits,
Perhaps because this entire war has been engineered by Israel. Maybe it's that.
Are you really going to start with just Israel? You don't think this is some sort of occult practice that's been going on for centuries?
Donald Trump has very clearly betrayed the American people. You need to accept that. I've had to accept that.
Oh, sorry. I don't normally, like to dwell in this kind of Schadenfreude. But
Trump has very clearly...
Sorry,
all right, you guys...
Hold on. Oh, shit. I jumped forward on this.
...should object to being very clearly not the commander of the armed forces. Bibi Netanyahu is. That's because this entire war has been engineered by Israel. Maybe it's that. Donald Trump has very clearly betrayed the American people. You need to... by Israel. Maybe it's that. Donald Trump has very clearly betrayed the American people. You need to accept that. I've had to accept that. Donald Trump has very clearly betrayed the American people. You need to accept that. I've had that. Perhaps because this entire war has betrayed the American people. You need to... by Israel. Maybe it's that.
Maybe.
Donald Trump has very clearly betrayed the American people. You need to accept that. I've had to accept that. He has very clearly betrayed the American people. You need to accept that. I've had...
Okay. What if we assumed this behavior and that's why we didn't vote for him in the first fucking place, and we don't view it as a betrayal, but more as a feature, not a bug of maggot politics, and that it's not so much that he's suddenly turned on you, but that you've been a fucking sucker this whole time, you shithead. And that we all knew Trump was going to do this. Does that ever occur to these assholes?
To accept that. He is very clearly not the commander of the armed forces. Bibi Netanyahu is.
That one's good too. Sorry, what?
He is very clearly not the commander of the armed forces. Bibi Netanyahu is.
I see. So Pete Hegseth takes his orders directly from Bibi Netanyahu. Great.
Adelson is, and I believe that Charlie Kirk was the first casualty of the war in Iran.
Oh, shit. Okay. I thought the title of this, The First Casualty was the truth. She literally thinks Charlie Kirk was the first casualty of this Iran war.
And it's also my belief that he was intentionally sacrificed.
Woo! Okay. Yeah. So let me, in case you haven't caught up on the Halle Berry, Alex Jones fusion that's going on in this lovely woman's Pottery Barn living room. She thinks that Jewish occult practices are playing out in this, and that American soldiers and anybody else involved in this are blood sacrifices to Baal. Not Donald Trump just simply being a limp dick, aging rapist who is making evil decisions based on macho legacy fantasies that he has and the desire for oil and greed and shit like that, and basically carving himself a chunk of wealth off for his sons and his own industry after he leaves the White House, whatever he thinks. It couldn't be that. It's that this Jewish occult something. They're eating hearts and stuff. It's basically the Mayans at this point.
Those who practice occult worship. I'm going to explain to you guys what I mean by that.
Please do. And I would suggest everyone take some notes on this one, because it kind of goes all over the place. A bit of a Rube Goldberg kind of a theory. No offense, just because he has a Jewish name.
Beyond that, it is completely obvious to anyone that is paying attention that
Obviously. She went to the Tucker Carlson school of I don't know, crowd manipulation.
America's desire was to become the president one day. So let's talk about all of it.
Sorry, yes. So the next thing is, by the way, Erica Kirk is going to be president. This is the first female president. It's going to be Erica Kirk. And Republicans are going to vote for a woman now because she was Charlie Kirk's widow. Tell me you don't know how Republican electoral politics work without telling me you don't know how Republican electoral politics work.
Welcome back.
You can argue that there were people within the Republican quote-unquote establishment, if anything, who talked McCain into taking a woman on as his VP to scuttle his chances.
Back to Candace.
Yeah, whatever. Fancy. Her opening's very fancy. I'm jealous. I need to get some pictures of myself leaning up against a wall. Yeah, that'll work.
Tucker Carlson.
And some very dramatic music.
He is trending right now. By the way, he's trending always. What he's doing right now is so remarkable and so brave. And he...
Yes. Imagine him risking his podcast when all he has in the bank is somewhere in the order of $100 million. If only the rest of us could be so brave as to risk pennies on the dollar of what we make just every year.
Is challenging the conversation, changing our understanding about the way politics works. I mean, he's just been so objectively honest and...
Not according to him. We just watched a clip of his and he was like, he's going to try and be as honest as he can, but no promises.
And again, brave in what he is doing. But he's trending right now for a rather obscure reason. It was...
he had sex with a demon trucker and he has the scratches to prove it.
Actually, a simple tweet that has a lot of his routine.
Is it really? I don't know if we're going to... You're going to show it to us? Is it going to be simple?
Haters melting down. This is the tweet. I'll show you that. He wrote, "Pray that the spell breaks and the world is saved."
Yeah, pretty much pedestrian faux Christianity. Not surprising at all.
That's all he wrote. Of course, we should pray. But what is triggering them about that? I think I know. I think it's the term, a spell. Yeah, a spell. Because a spell implies some...
Magic. It's the world of illusion.
Some sort of witchcraft or magic is at work. And the timing of this...
Or an old torch song. I put a spell on you.
Tweet really is something because I have had it on my heart and on my...
To the black magic woman. Ding, 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 ding. Like, it could be that as well. I mean, it also could be a euphemistic spell, pray that the spell is broken. Like, it's like if it said, pray that the fever is broken and sanity restored and everyone's like, the whole world doesn't have a fucking fever. What do you believe in, climate change now?
Mind all weekend to find the right words to convey to my audience that what is going on in this world is literally and exactly that. People that practice occult magic are in this moment pushing for World War III.
Why?
I think that's hard for a lot of people to process because we grow up and we learn that
that this is nonsense.
In effect, really 3 major monotheistic religions in the West. So
in the West?
Idea that actually...
According to you, by the way, there's only 2. There's only 1 in the West, and the other 2 are trying to fuck up the West, right? Muslims and Jews, according to her, are a part of this Kabbalistic evil shit, and Christianity is the Western religion, which you could argue it's filtered through European paganism, and that's why. I mean, basically all of it's, whether it's saints or, fucking Christmas or Easter or whatever, are all, co-opted pagan holidays or whatever, Anyways, I'm sorry. You were saying something about demons. Aleister Crowley, Satanic Panic.
There are people that are in charge of Western governments that
Donald Trump.
are in essence really pagan.
He's not a pagan. He's a hedonist. He doesn't give a rat fuck about God or Jesus or any of that stuff. He's just, he's just a rich asshole who wants a pleasurable life at the expense of other people, and it almost doesn't have any value unless it is.
And could be making literal blood sacrifices to
Right, yeah. Are figurative ones okay?
various demons, that kind of
Because that's what communion is.
evades us. It evades our understanding of the world because we look at Hollywood, we look at culture. Hollywood in particular has been ever intentional in assisting sort of the implausibility of such a narrative, right?
Oh, is this because sci-fi movies? Because everything but, I think, maybe two, like Interstellar and all these other point to a lack of soul? Or are you blaming The Exorcist for not being scary enough?
Movies, books that are published.
Television shows. Puppet shows. Magazines.
If they delve
Other forms of media wherein entertainment and information is conveyed. Bibles. No, sorry. Okay.
into the topic of witchcraft and spell casting.
Oh, okay. So this is we're going back to Bewitched is the reason we're all in this or whatever. They like you think they swapped out Dick Sargent and Dick York? One of them was taken and destroyed. It was blood sacrificed. That was not a recasting.
It's reserved really for the category of fantasy, right? It's fantasy if they're discussing it, or it's being mocked. Hocus Pocus or Harry Potter.
Yeah, Harry Potter doesn't mock the idea. It's a kid story, but also Hocus Pocus is a comedy about it. But I mean, what was that series with the girls on or whatever, the girls who were witches or whatever? And I mean, you could argue that X-Files messes around in some of it and takes it a little more seriously. I mean, Bewitched did make it adorable. I will say that.
Really?
I Dream of Jeannie, same thing. Yeah.
What sort of crazy...
Witches of Eastwick is fantastic. I love that movie. And I would say that takes it fairly seriously, right? And takes the blowback aspect of it very seriously.
Person would believe that ancient pagan practices are still happening in the real world. Okay, maybe in some remote...
What if it's techno-modern paganism? Like Elon Musk showing up at a sex party with his mom in a Mephistopheles armor with ball on the front of it. Does that count? Probably not.
Third world village in Africa, but in the developed Western world?
The African pagans?
At the tippity top of government, you would...
Well, the tippity top, that's clearly Trump.
Be
the trumpety top.
mad to even...
Yes, Charmed. Thank you. That's the series. I didn't watch it, but yeah, that would be. I think that took it fairly seriously. Like it was a charming show. I think.
Suggest it, even when it's actually...
When are they going to make a movie of Charmed and bring them back or whatever? How about they could call it Charmed? I'm sure.
In our faces. Take, for example, this recent Paris fashion show collection from a brand known as Materiel Fécal. Just so you know, that translates to fecal matter.
Yeah, it's a shit show. I agree. It's almost like these assholes deal in forced irony. Materiel Fécal. That's how I would call it. You sure you're not reading a criticism of it?
Wow. Must have really been an inspired show. Fecal matter. Wow. No, so in your face, but don't you take it the next step further.
He's got little holes poked in it, so I don't think he's going to bump into anything or whatever. I think that's defacing I don't think it's a real dollar because he'd go to jail for that.
And think that, these people could be into some dark stuff.
Okay, that's definitely some dark stuff. And there's nothing darker than wearing oversized garments.
Would make you, again, a crazy person. What about the much celebrated vision?
Can I just say for the record that most fashion shows look like gnarly horse shit, and because you have to keep ratcheting it up every time, there tends to be a lean into it. And I'll give you a good example of how this kind of spirals out of control for marketing purposes. Is that you get people accusing Kiss of being knights in Satan service, and so to ratchet up that automatic news cycle bump that they get from people who flip out about it. You have Motley Crue coming in, putting a big pentagram on their fucking album cover and calling it Shout at the Devil. And it's not obviously Shout with the Devil, but you start ratcheting it up to the point where it becomes absurd because everybody's like, that's a genre, they dress like that. You don't hear a bunch of shit about like Norwegian death metal from assholes like this, right? Because it's just a thing. Nobody cares. And the same thing's true of Fashion Week. These assholes are always on a wind-up.
Dual artist to the stars, the Serbian one. She's also an artist to the politicians. She does...
Oh, this is the spirit cooking lady who,
Spirit cooking.
Yeah. We're going back to Pizzagate.
Literally, that was what was in those emails. Marina Abramovic. She puts on performances in front of the most powerful people in the world.
Yes, I guess they're either bored, artistic, or silly.
Performances like in 1974.
In 1974, back when they started all this, obviously you can track, this is when the Iran War really started.
When she sought to, quote, re-evoke the energy of extreme bodily pain using a large petroleum-drenched pentagram, which the artist lit on fire at the start of the performance. Standing outside of the pentagram, Abramovic cut her nails, her toenails, and her hair. When she finished with each, she threw the clippings into the flames, creating a burst of light each time, burning the pentagram, representing a physical and mental...
Sorry, so this was the world's first satanic manicure? She clipped her toenails and her fingernails and her hair, and she threw it into the... So, we like to refer to this down south as the devil's makeover.
Purification. Oh, that's just art, guys. That's just art, don't you?
It's not just art, it's style.
Think a step further. No, come on, that's just art. And on the matter of science, even when it's in our faces, like when the world's leading nuclear physicists are
this is the CERN sacrifice.
Caught, cloaked before a statue of Shiva.
Well, they weren't caught because you don't know actually who they are. That's the thing. Even when you filmed some people and the person who was filming it didn't film before it or after it, they just kind of like filmed up to this moment and then ran away. And so you never see any faces. They didn't move into another position. They didn't film the rest of it. They didn't, run down there and go, hey, what the fuck are you guys doing? Is that woman okay? Like any normal person would. And another person in the building would have filmed that happening when those people turned and threw their fucking fingernail clippings on them and set them on fire in a purge of some shit. I don't know what the fuck. But that's caught means you know who they actually are. Just saying. That would help immensely.
Stabbing a woman in an occult ceremony for CERN. Well, you guys, that's just science. That right there that you are looking at.
No, those are just Converse, I think.
On your screen.
It looks like a student film nobody finished editing. But also, again, they apparently killed this woman and no one rushed to her aid, even though the head sorcerer can't even get a fucking robe that fits. What do? Wash it in cheap soap and put it in the dryer? Never put your fucking evil cloak in the dryer. It shrinks. Now you tell me, Mom.
Was science the best science, the best that science has to offer, the most...
Or like a student film group using the fact that there's a giant statue nearby and nobody really around and they could just film in front of it for a student project they never released, or that was the student project ultimately.
Genius people. And indeed, I would agree that it's modern science. In fact, the entire thrust of what was deemed the scientific revolution a move
Uh-oh.
away from the natural order of things and towards empiricism, rationality.
Vaccines, washing your hands before surgery, and perhaps even after, wiping your ass.
That began because of a long
Fuck you, science, and your bullshit. I'm not washing my hands. That's not natural. Defecation is natural. Underpants are not.
organized Freemasonic effort to
Uh-oh. I've been called out. For those of you who don't know, I'm a Freemason, so I love it when this shit goes on or whatever.
remove humanity from our innate spiritual understanding.
Okay, by the way, she'll start talking probably about symbolism and the evil of symbolism and all that kind of shit with a torture device behind her on a desk because of one of the people that died on it. She likes in particular after lots of other people were killed on similar items.
Okay? They wanted you to know that you can now ignore your God-given instincts. You can set aside your subconscious. That subconscious that comes online and lets you know that something is not right.
Yeah, alcohol it smells funky like pure alcohol, so why would I want to wipe that on a cut that I just had? My blood is natural. There's a hole in my hand, so why would I want to take this stinky thing and put soap in in a natural wound? My instinct tells me that stings and it's bad.
Yeah, you can just set that aside and trust the experts instead.
Yes, the experts that made an anti-parasitic for horses and they made it taste like green apple so that horses would eat it and tell you don't inject it up your own butthole because it's not healthy at those doses because it's meant for a fucking racehorse. And yet, your soul, your instinct, your conscience tells you, don't be afraid. Ram it, rub it up your poop chute, cord hole.
In fact, the experts constantly reinforce to us that our subconscious is wrong.
Yeah. Like, just because there's a yellow line in the middle of the street, it's not going to stop you from driving into oncoming traffic. We're all supposed to agree on this? That this is what if my soul tells me, fuck it, I want to drive like I'm in England all of a sudden? Nothing's really stopping me till later, like death, the destruction of my vehicle in prison, but still.
Or it's just weird. And in some cases, it's immoral. It's devilish, even. You want to go see your grandmother while she's dying in the middle of COVID?
No, that's not the devil's. It's to keep her from dying or spreading something that's killing her. Would be the theory.
What are you, Satan? You're being guided by Satan?
Satan? That's very seldom do you get to hear Satan pronounced with an apostrophe where the T is. It's adorable. It's a little Satan. Satan. What are you doing, Satan?
And if you don't listen to Dr. Fauci, that's who you're being guided by.
The devil himself.
Because
who's to say Fauci is the devil?
There's no greater source of authority in their world than the government.
Well, I mean, I think, the government represents the people, and the people have decided, for example, that we've agreed on the shape of stop signs, and we've agreed on water standards, that salmonella is bad, that in some cases even that Congress should decide whether we go to war or not, shit like that. That's
control. That's the idea. And I promise you on everything, that when Savannah, my manager, came down the stairs and delivered the news that Charlie had been shot, I went into my husband's office and I cried, and I immediately said to him, he was betrayed. Charlie was betrayed. And my husband said back to me, you don't know that. We don't know anything yet. And I
and said, I will hunt down everything I can that confirms that and ignore anything that doesn't. Again, I kind of don't give a shit about this fight amongst themselves. I think we will find out from the trial. And even after the trial, people like this will decide that it's true or not based on whatever their previous bias is. And this is a fight amongst themselves. And I think it's a tragedy when anybody is killed for their political beliefs. And I think it's wrong. So it's pretty easy to be me right now. But man, between them and like the maggots fighting over this fucking dog bone. Woof.
Said, I know. Now, empirically, that argument fails. I get it. But no one can explain why or how I had the sense of dread in the very week leading up to Charlie's assassination. No one can offer why I knew that there...
Well, we have to believe that you actually did. And we don't. And you seem to be the kind of person who would rewrite over your experience the week before. A moment of worry stretches out to a premonition, and that it didn't happen the week before, it happened months before, but in your mind it happened much closer to the actual event because of people like that. And it sounds like, I don't want to, it sounds like you're being a sorceress. So you think that you're having premonitions, that you have your own built-in Ouija board. Now, which is fine. If you think you can tell the future, that's fine. But it sounds a bit like the kind of pagan blood sacrificey shit you're warning us about.
There was danger coming specifically to a school.
You in Charlie Kirk, you in danger, girl.
And why I felt that it was related to bees, why the feeling was so overwhelming that I hired extra security and took my podcast off air and pulled my children out of school. I had never experienced a dread like that in my life, ever. No one also can explain.
Also, none of us know if that's actually true. I don't know if she didn't do a show that week because she was doing something else. But in retrospect, sure, go knock yourself out.
Or even offer an...
Clearly, by the way, I guess I, as a duly designated representative of Hollywood, have to applaud her for supporting the concept of witchcraft and sorcery.
Explanation as to how exactly it is that Charlie knew he was going to die young, and that his death would specifically be related to Turning Point USA. He said he knew from the moment he signed on the dotted line that he was going to die young.
So it didn't occur to him that once he had kids to quit and move to a ranch and get the fuck out of Dodge?
What exactly is the expert explanation for that deep internal knowing that he...
The kind of pathological self-involvement that comes from people who would run an organization like that and say the kind of shit he said, would believe that they were effectively martyrs in their own mind. I mean, look at Iran. They're full of those assholes. Why would it be any different? It's just another phrase for I'm going to be martyred. I'm so amazing. The whole world hinges on whether I'm here or not. So of course somebody like that believes that.
That has now been proven correct. I'll tell you, there isn't one. There isn't one. What Charlie sensed was obviously right. And the moment that Charlie was shot, I knew what happened to him was not random. Okay, he was betrayed. Charlie Kirk was the first casualty of the war.
Who was his Judas? I think the problem is that I think it's all Judases, like everybody at TV USA is a Judas, is the problem with this? Like all of them? In which case, it's kind of, is this you made your bed, you're going to lie in it kind of thing? Surround yourself with fucking murderous assholes and don't be surprised when you're murdered by an asshole? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
In Iran. I'm certain of that. And it's deeper than that. I am now of the opinion that he was likely sacrificed. And I want to tell you why I got there. You guys know, if you're a part of my book club, I've been doing a lot of research into...
Yeah, flipping through things, I think it's
Freemasonry. About a month ago, while we...
By the way, she has the same Bible I have. I have that Bible.
Took a break to prepare for our Bride of Charlie series, someone sent me this. I'm showing you, this is what they sent me in the mail. Something that is known as a Freemason Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Yeah, it's like the Trump Bible, only nobody claims it, and it's you can buy it if you want it. They don't charge extra, and there's not any missing parts of it.
Knew that these existed because of my studying Sigmund Freud and looking into the fact that he had inherited one from his father.
Yeah, but not that model. They're different. Yeah.
The backstory of this one in particular came with a handwritten letter, is that a 33rd degree Freemason out in Oklahoma died, and all of his belongings were left in a home that was eventually auctioned off.
Okay, that pressing of that version of the Bible is like 10 years old.
And the person who had this in his possession, his relative was the person who acquired...
Oh my God, stop acting like it's a fucking antique. Hold on. Is mine in here somewhere? I thought I had it around. It's gotta be. It's out on my bookshelf. Hold on. Speak amongst yourselves. Where has it gone? I had it, we looked at it a little bit ago. Son of a bitch. It's around here somewhere, by God. I do say. Oh, yeah, right here. Sorry. Got it. It's the exact same fucking Bible. Same one. I have the same one. I have the exact same one. It's, let's see what the printing, the period is like, let's see, this version of it, Harrison, yes, the original pressing 1951 to 1954 by Dixie Bibles, which was a company, whatever. And then the second one by Heirloom Bible Publishers. There's a lot of companies that make Bibles. And then this one's copyright 1988 by DeVore and Sons in Wichita, Kansas. So it's just a it's a pressing of the Bible. It also has George Washington in his Freemason apron. It has a list of Freemason presidents in here, including Truman, who was the reason my grandfather was a Freemason, so I decided to join because, my grandfather was a good man. And then they have a bunch of like little almost children's stuff about the building of Solomon's temple and like a little breakdown of it in specific verses around these particular things. And then if you're in the Scottish Rite, you join and then you put in your information. I didn't write mine in here, but it's your name or whatever, and they can fill it out for you if you want or whatever. And then it's got some like the George Washington Masonic Memorial and when it was built and that kind of stuff in it and these kind of stuff and where they get their stuff from, why Freemasonry uses the Holy Bible as a sacred text and stuff. The reason Catholics like and the newly Catholic like Candace here hate that Bible and hate Freemasons is because the Catholic Church has had a bull against the Freemasons for a long time because it's a secular organization. You have to believe in a hereafter. You can't be an atheist and be in. But you're, as Albert Pike said, everyone is entitled to their own unique mistake. You can, however we picture God is probably wrong. So be humble and don't think you have all the answers. And now
the home. And they went in and they burned everything in it effectively, thinking that it was obviously just carrying bad spirits.
Sure, okay. They just didn't want to burn the evil Bible, I guess.
But he, for some reason, had the sense that he should keep this one item. For no particular reason, he kept it in the back of his truck.
He didn't want to burn a Bible? Felt a little weird about it?
For over a decade. And when he saw me covering the history of Freemasonry and what they believe, trying to discern what it is that they believe, he felt that this was the reason.
By the way, by and large, democracy and that men have a better place in the world and that without training, men can be particularly shitty and the whole goal is to make good men better. That's the whole thing. Can't make a bad man good, but you can make good men better. That's the purpose of it. And you'll notice when Freemasonry kind of trailed off, the shittier men started to elevate themselves within America. Donald Trump, for example, can't be one because of his behavior. The fact that he's an adjudicated rapist would keep him out, for example.
And he had kept it all those years. So he just sent it to me to provide me further insight into what they believe and what...
Oh, I think she sees the Order of the Eastern Star, which is a pentagram, which is the female version of Freemasonry that kind of came through the mystic period in American culture around the 1900s to 1920, and because it has a pentagram as that, then that's a Freemason symbol, even though, again, the stars and stripes.
They practice at the top of Freemasonry.
And the Pentagon.
This is not your granddad's Freemason lodge, okay? No, my dad was in a lodge. It was just a... No, this is not that. That is not what 33rd degree Freemasonry is. So I flipped...
Yeah, it's by and large just old guys who've been in it a long time and left their fortunes to it and supported like the Scottish Rite Temple and shit like that.
Through this immediately.
Again, how would I know? I've never been invited to the Eyes Wide Shut parties, so perhaps she knows something I don't.
After we did throw...
Yeah, Job's daughter's in the Order of the Eastern Star.
Douse it in holy water. I flipped through it. And within the very first
She's good idea. Douse any Bible you have in holy water.
pages, there was a pentagram with various illustrations inside of it, notes around it. I'm going to show you that now. We just took a picture for it for you to see it.
So obviously the notes weren't from the guy who owned it. It looks like the guy who gave it to you wrote that. What page is that? Hold on. Page. Look through this. Important events, family tree shit, genealogy records. The Scottish Rite thing. Yeah, Order of the Eastern Star is what the pentagram is about. That's again the women's version of things. It's in another section or something. Am I gonna have to flip through this goddamn thing for no pun intended? Do we have a page? We don't. It looks like one, but that's not clearly the truth. My page one does not have that. It's the genealogy on it. It's the grandparents. Hold on. Nope, just the books of the Old and New Testaments. The books of the Old Testament separate and the books of the New Testament together. The fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man is blah, blah, blah. Yeah. All right. She doesn't give me a page. I can't look at it. Maybe it's at the end. Maybe that's it. Maybe there's a, let's see, map of Mesopotamia in case you want to wonder when you're reading stories in the Bible where they actually happened and what the maps look like before the bell maps. Notes. Pictures and drawings. Nope. Okay. Don't know. Anyways, this is the whether your mom and your dad, I guess, were Mason and Order of the Eastern Star.
I'm there at the bottom, and in case you can't see what is pointing to the middle, it says place of sacrifice or worship.
Yeah, the Bible is full of altars. Have you read the Old Testament?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yes. I got news for you. Jesus was a blood sacrifice, weirdo. You take communion. You're eating his body and his blood. You think they invented this shit?
Place of sacrifice or worship in the middle there. So I want you to note that in this Freemason Bible, it illustrates that a sacrifice must be made in the center of a pentagon. That's a pentagon.
No, it doesn't actually. And I guess technically this ties to, you'll have to ask Pete Hegseth about his own witchcraft in this particular instance. But obviously, the Masons do the square and compass at the top, and there need not be a sacrifice. Everything is, most churches have an altar. All Catholic churches have an altar. It's symbolic of sacrifice and the blood of, I've washed in the blood of the Lamb. Like, good Lord. You know what? Never mind. Take it literally.
Pentagon. 5 sides. Like a house.
So that's why women are running the Pentagon right now. So everyone who works there is a lady.
And I thought, how curious that Charlie was indeed seated in the center of a pentagon.
He was? Thought he was under a tent in an amphitheater.
When he was killed. Let me demonstrate that for you. You can see that right there.
That's not a pentagon. A pentagon isn't just anything with 5 sides. It has to be 5 equal sides. What?
Again, it was my independent study into Sigmund Freud that led me to learning about B'nai B'rith, the Jewish Freemason group, whom I believe
yes, and now do Mormons. Yes, everybody's borrowed a version of it.
have been running our country since at least the Civil War.
Sorry, that's the other thing. Jews from the B'nai B'rith have been running the United States since the Civil War. I don't know if that means that they were against slavery, and she has them to thank for the fact that she's free. which I think is a good thing. I would argue. Maybe she would disagree with me, but so they, after we no longer had slavery, apparently this B'nai B'rith group has been running things during which she and her progeny and people have more freedom than would have happened before then. So, but they're not the good guys. I don't that's just weird. I mean, I don't think it's true, but I think it's hilarious that, like, sorry, I guess they were on the winning side then?
I've done my best to consume and learn about what it is that they believe, what they practice.
Well, maybe your best wasn't good enough.
This is occult mysticism, okay? The satanic panic that happened was real.
Okay.
Children are being harmed. They have been harmed in occult ceremonies for a very long time.
Yeah, I don't think it's the occult ceremony part of it. I think pedophiles like Donald Trump and his buddies just like they're psychopaths. I don't think they think it's magic. I mean, maybe there's people around them that take advantage of that do think it's magic, and so they're fellow travelers. But if you believe that, then you have to believe Donald Trump is a Satan worshiper, which I'm all ears.
This is an ancient practice.
So it works, is your argument? Witch lady who sees the future? Because I doubt it. Maybe I'm too sciencey, but I gotta say, I don't think child sacrifice gives you superpowers. I just don't. Citation needed. Apparently you believe it does.
And this is not to be confused with Judaism in any way. In fact, they rely on you confusing it.
Well, then they're in deep shit, because I don't confuse the two. But she's talking to her audience.
Shape or form does this have anything to do with any of the monotheistic religions? Okay.
It sounds like it does, though, because I mean, you're saying that the whole Bible there. So there's a complete Bible in that Holy Bible. This thing is the whole Bible. They didn't go, we're going to take out the whole thing where Jesus says be nice to people, whatever. And there's not an extra chapter on eat babies. Insofar as I know, maybe I need to scan over this and check and make sure that they didn't throw in a couple of verses. And Jesus wept because the baby he was eating was undercooked, and he hates it that way. Maybe they redrafted this, ma'am. Fuck, this thing is heavy. Hold on, I'm gonna put this over here out of the way where I've really got to straighten up in here. I have too many props. Okay. Back to devil worship or something.
Judaism is merely a mask that these pagan occultists wear, just like
okay.
Christianity is one of the masks that they wear.
So Trump's wearing a mask because he's really a pagan. Real quick, I don't really know any real pagans. The only pagans I've ever really seen are besides, maybe I was going to say like Vikings or something, and a show like that, but like People Against Goodness and Normalcy and Dragnet, the movie with Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd, which was fucking hilarious. But I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't think Donald Trump has it in him to be an acolyte of anything except his own wanton needs. Right? Does that make sense?
The Star of David, as they term it, is in fact an occult symbol meant to represent King Solomon's ring. There is no way that you can avoid this. There's no...
Yeah, but you'd have an argument that Solomon doesn't play a part in pagan religious practices or Eastern religious practices or Native American religious practices or fucking Mayan or Aztec for that matter. If you're going to say it has nothing to do with the three Abrahamic religions, Solomon's kind of meaningful only in those three. It's not like they're citing him in fucking like Odinic runes.
Way that they can try to rewrite history. It is quite literally known as the Seal of Solomon. I'm going to show you this. This is
right, Hebrew. Yeah, it's attributed to King Solomon, medieval mystical traditions, Jewish mysticism, Islamic mysticism, Western occultism, which is based on Christic concepts of, how do you say this has nothing to do with the three monotheistic religions when it is specifically, it's a predecessor to the Star of David? I mean, Wikipedia being what it is.
This is on Wikipedia.
Are you this fucking dumb?
Yeah, this is
The answer is yes.
that accessible. We can read parts of this together. It reads,
Yes, we can. But do we absorb the meaning the same way?
it is often depicted in the shape of either a hexagram or a pentagram. In mystic Jewish lore, the ring
Mystic. Oh.
is variously described as having been given to Solomon, having given Solomon, the power to command the supernatural. Due to the proverbial wisdom of Solomon, it came to be seen as an amulet or a talisman or
An amulet? How many eggs are in an amulet? I'm not wearing a fried egg around my neck. I don't give a fuck. An amulet. Ew. Ew, that's so much fancier. Ladies and gentlemen, an omelette. Ew. Well, I'll be in the drawing room having breakfast. I'll have an omelette with 2 fried eggs. Has she read the story of Moses? He turned his fucking cane into a snake. What the fuck do you think? It's the same thing. That's not mysticism. The Lord turned his staff into a snake and scared the fuck out of everyone. You know, magic pestilences sent by God. Like, what's the difference?
a symbol or character in medieval
An amulet. God damn.
magic and Renaissance magic, occultism, alchemy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is literal witchcraft.
Yes, it's literally not. It's literally supernatural beliefs of people who believe that God is has a material impact in the world. There's no more witchcraft than Moses turning his staff into a fucking snake, you dipshit.
We cannot beat these people and we cannot win if we refuse to even recognize what it is that we are up against.
What difference would it make? What are you going to do? Cast an alternative spell?
We have to recognize what it is
And cast and get some Eye of Newt.
who it is that we are up against.
Apparently it's Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, but you can't see that, so I guess it's some fucking witches in Salem.
And again, it has nothing to do with Christianity.
Kind of does, though, because it's from the Old Testament story, where it's, Solomon's Temple and all. It's all kind of important to the Abrahamic religions.
It's got nothing to do with Judaism.
Kind of does. It's literally the symbol that's on the flag of Israel right now, I think.
That is why, as is further stipulated on this Wikipedia page,
Damn. And yeah, you got it? It's fucking Wikipedia. So, what more do you need? What do you want to do? Read it out of the Bible?
the Seal of Solomon was once featured on the flag of Nigeria.
What? That's amazing.
And the flag of Morocco. Those are not known to be Jewish countries.
No, this is sacred geometry has shown up in a bunch of different places, and the kind of overlapping design of it is cultural. It's masculine and feminine intertwined is the idea that a lot of people think of that as kind of a primitive sex symbol. People who are easily panicked by ick will often say this.
Freemasons worship Solomon as the master architect. They believe that he gave them the keys to build and therefore control societies. This is how...
No, the great architect is the generic word for God, and that's not Solomon. And the skilled carpentry was both a metaphor and a real thing. That back then masons could be swallowed up by kings and forced to work, and they got so skilled that you couldn't make them work for you and build something that would last because they were smarter than you were, and they knew how to make the fucking place topple over in a matter of months. It looks sound to you because you're dumb, but when they leave, it falls in on you and kills you. So this trust back and forth meant that these skilled men had to be dealt with and they tried to kill him and it didn't work, and then they were able to form what is effectively the first union and the first democratic process, and that's how it spread, and that's why the Catholic Church hates it, and that's why the Muslims hate it, and it's why authoritarian governments hate it, and yeah.
This is how you build a matrix, in effect, right?
Ah, I see. This is good. You get to Neo now.
That is the reason why Aleister Crowley, who was a master, occultist, created an entire religion around this.
Yeah, but kind of as a clown to get laid because he was a fat schlub who nobody wanted to fuck. So you can get, it's like how serial killers who look like shit get relatively beautiful women to write them letters because they're broken inside and stuff. That's how you do that. During the mysticism phase, that was a good way to round people up. Of course, these women were probably high on laudanum at the same time, or he was providing them the laudanum, so...
Put together a series of books, a series of pentacles that are meant to summon various spirits.
Yes, and he died of heart disease, I believe, so... like everybody else.
I want you to hear me when I say that. They are intentionally summoning demons.
Well, are they successful? So you're saying this is a process that works. Are you selling some sort of a program? Sorry if I'm going late about this, guys. We're going way over. But this is fucking crazy. Of course, I would say that because I'm a Mason, right? I suppose. I probably can't, I'm the worst person to address this, except that I'm not.
Book he wrote was called The Book of Evil Spirits. Wow.
Yes, he was a silly person, but he gave us a great Ozzy song. Also, Crowley was his name, not Crowley, but because of Ozzy, we all pronounce it that way. Isn't that neat? Mr. Crowley, right?
Oh, look at that Star of David all over it.
Yeah, but it's turned sideways and it goes everywhere. It's sacred geometry. It's a big thing. Like back then, it's like the swastika is actually the hooked cross in German. They didn't. Swastika is a Hindu phrase, a Hindu name for it, obviously. And there were Buddhists who drew that symbol as well, but they're not on the hook for what the Nazis turned it into any more than somebody who drew a similar pentagram or a Star of David would be on the hook for what somebody else uses it for. And as a matter of fact, if it's a point of power and access, then of course people will misuse it and turn it into something. I mean, look at the fucking Jan Sixers who wear the American flag. I rest my fucking case.
What do you mean this is not associated with Judaism?
You just said that, asshat. You just said that. You said it wasn't associated with Judaism. What?
It's associated with Baal worship. I cannot stress this enough.
Sorry. Are we talking about the including the colon? It's bowel worship. Sorry, what?
It's associated with Baal worship.
Ball, B-A-A-L, ball, not bowel. It's all right. Look, I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. If you're worshiping bowels, knock yourself out. Just be careful out there and play safe.
I cannot stress this enough. That
you clearly do not stress your bowels.
That
I think we have some tape of some bowel worship. Amen.
Is what those in power.
Sorry. I needed that. I needed the break. The amulet and the bowel worship. This is good. I'm just saying maybe she's allergic to eggs.
Practice. It is what they believe. It is ancient. It is occult. And it is magic. I believe.
But does it work? If it doesn't work, who gives a fuck?
That the manner of Charlie's death was also intended to cast a spell.
Which apparently worked. So you're saying that side does, it's a functioning methodology for achieving goals? I that's what I don't understand. Like, so you're saying this power that they have is real on the earth plane. It sounds like you're selling it.
That's the only thing I kept asking the question, why did they broadcast this?
They didn't. People were live streamed everything. they broadcast all of his things. Didn't they? I mean, didn't they carry all these things? I don't think they broadcast. I didn't remember seeing it live. I remember the video being released fairly quickly because there were a lot of people filming with their fucking phones.
Making us watch Charlie die was diabolical.
They didn't make you. You sought it out. I wasn't just flipping fucking channels and breaking. Watch this.
And although this priest that I'm about to show you is discussing Satanism more broadly, he's not
He's the guy on Sean Ryan's show.
Saying this to be clear in the context of Charlie Kirk. I want you to take a listen to what he says. This is Father Ripperger. He is going to describe the
Sorry, Father Ripperger? Is he a bowel worshiper? It sounds like it. Ripperger? Okay.
nature of this sort of constant symbolism that's being used, this obsession.
With putting torture devices up around as representative of the God you believe in, that the thing that they killed him on is representative of some sort of beloved idea instead of, I don't know, like a sun, since it was a sun-worshipping kind of religion up to that point.
With them almost having to reveal to us what they're doing, like wanting to get close to revealing to us what they're doing, and then...
Well, I think it's just, I guess I didn't realize how much the demonic forces benefit from social media.
Gaslighting us. Take a listen.
Actually, the technical term that we tend to use for that is called the revealing of the method.
The tentacle term we use is unlike the testicle term, the revealing of the method.
I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
No, I've not.
Basically, it basically means that... It can be connected to a curse. They could curse this so that it has a more, so that its distribution becomes more extensive and more people watch the thing. But a lot of times what that is that the thing about Satanists and also...
Okay, look, I'm all about please. The reason they show these things, the ideas that you view it as the revealing of the method, is because that is indeed the thing that shocks people. It's like showing I don't know. It's like showing the explosions in Iran makes people who are for it feel like we're winning. This isn't mysticism. This is run-of-the-mill, like, crowd control.
Even though it's occult and the fact that it's hidden, there's a side to diabolic psychology that even when they remain hidden, they still want to show themselves.
Yes, that's the problem. They're too egotistical to keep it occult. Don't you guys know occult means to keep it hidden? Why the fuck are you putting up a banner?
In some way, they still...
Why do you want a website? Why do you want to write a book, Aleister Crowley?
They're still going to reveal themselves in something they can't.
All right, this is, I don't need to watch her watch something else or whatever. I went way over. Anyways, fascinating stuff. But this is the entirety of the current argument amongst this crowd. That and more than anything, this is what, that obviously Fuentes is an atheist, I believe, or he calls himself a Catholic, but not a believer, certainly in the teachings of Jesus or the behaviors of Jesus, so what the fuck does that even mean? You can call yourself whatever you want. But between her and Tucker Carlson, who I wonder if he views himself as like evangelical, or he's one of the new like Catholics that were came about through either being anti-abortion or anti-gay. A lot of people on the right find their way to Catholicism through that, which is fairly sad. But this seems to be a running story between all of them, that this is just a fight between good and evil. And I can't state this like emphatically enough. This is all the machinations of a bunch of people trying to hide the fact that they supported Donald Trump and he's doing these things. It can't be that they were just a bunch of gullible assholes and he's doing exactly what he said he would fucking do. And I couldn't possibly be this fucking stupid. It's got to be overpowers your reason so much. You have to believe that there's something great. I mean, this is the natural extension of the deep state and the pentaveret onto demonic forces. You have to believe this. If you dulled your senses so much that you refuse to look right at Donald Trump and go, this dude was friends with Jeffrey Epstein. He's, if not a kid fucker himself, a fan of kid fuckers. And so to deal with that fact, apparently their ego is so goddamn delicate that they refuse to turn the gazing eye upon themselves and judge their own behavior, their own sycophancy, and their own being, their own idiocy or gullibleness. And so what's their only alternative? It has to be mystic forces driving this whole thing. The delusion is a defense mechanism at this point. They're all believing that there must be something. I couldn't possibly have fell for this asshole if I hadn't been under a spell. Shut the fuck up. You're a sucker. Get used to it. I will say that there's an upside to this. Is that if they are caught in a spell, it is a spell of their own making. They put a spell on themselves. And they're finding it unbreakable. I will, Ichigo fan. Bless you guys. Thank you guys for your support. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing your eyeballs and your ear holes with me. I will see you tomorrow. Hit that like, share the show. Thank you for the super chats and Patreon supporters, patreon.com/HalSparks, etc.
They rot in the air, a handshake, a lie, a blame.